Welcome to the special agenda. Thank you for everyone who's taken the time to join me again this evening out of their busy schedule. And generally, I'd like to set us time. We're working on it where I am consistent with the time frame that we have. And we've had a couple of things where we have been missing in action. And so we are working on that. Today, we're discussing something that a lot of us have concerns about. We all like to be seen as individuals who are caring and loving and supportive and helpful. But what often happens is we get into a pattern of meeting the needs of others without considering that that will mean consistently that our needs are not met. Our loved ones' needs are not met. The needs for our health are not being met. We are just unable to consistently do everything for everyone. There is a saying that you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. So occasionally, you have to say no. You have to reiterate to the ones that you care so much about that you are concerned about their needs, but unfortunately, due to circumstances, you may not be able this particular time to be of assistance in the way that they need. You will do what you can when you can, but you can't always do what they need and they want. And they may have to find alternate sources of help. Um, and that's something that we have to consider. And what meets the criteria of being assistant to others? Because it is wonderful to be useful. But it is important that we take into consideration the terms in which you can be of assistance and the terms in which, in some instances, you have to say no. One, can that person resolve that problem or situation without you? Two, how will it interrupt your family dynamic? Will you not be able to get your jobs done if you will you not be able to meet your own personal obligations? Will you not be able to take care of your own health? I say health because I had a job once that, because of the hours and the work dynamic, I was constantly put in a situation where they knew what was going on with my health and what was fair on the job. But what wasn't happening was anyone was taking me into consideration. And sometimes I at that point did not take it upon myself to push and advocate for myself and to say, hey, if you're not going to give me what I need, I can no longer work this job. What was happening was I have health issues and I'm a diabetic. And if I work long hours, at some point I'm required to take my insulin and other medications. I'm also required to have time to eat a meal. I was constantly told that I needed to clock out in order to do that. That was heard, but I wasn't allowed to do that. And what would happen was everyone would pass their work on to me. They tell me, could I help this person out? Because they're just going to take a smoke break. It was important for them to take a smoke break by the standards of management, but it wasn't important to them to make sure the employee that they said was strong and could take care of everybody else's needs, and I could have their back, and this could go well and that could go well. But it wasn't important for them to allow me, even upon request, to make sure that I had the time to check my blood sugar, take my insulin, have a meal. Meanwhile, everybody else was getting those things met, but they were requiring me to cover them, but nobody was covering me. You have to make sure that that's not what's happening. Oftentimes, people who are big people pleasers, and those of us who have ADD, um, one of the symptoms is constantly trying to do so many things and being distracted and not meeting your own needs. Sometimes to the degree that many have lost their jobs because they're trying to cover everybody else, not being willing also to allocate other responsibilities to other people. Having that spirit of kindness is wonderful, but it can seem unreasonable to believe that you're the only person that can do those jobs, or to require or allow other people to require that you're the only member of the team that can do that. You do know if you die, they will replace you. No matter what anyone says, you're irreplaceable. No, you're replaceable. We all are. Because at some point we will be. When we die, someone else is born. We have to remember that. And that's hard. We've been taught that that's a good person. You volunteering, you're a good person. Meanwhile, you die while helping, they may or may not even attend your funeral. So it's wonderful to be wonderful, but be mindful of yourself and your mate. There are people who lost their mate because they allowed management on their job to make them feel like that job was everything. Meanwhile, you're working 90 hours. You live to that job. You live at that job. You married that job. But the person you did marry and you committed to be there sometime for them, you're never there. It's nice to be important. It's nice to be loved. But you have to prioritize yourself in even self care, even self maintenance. Never allow the belief that you are so important to others that you can't be important to yourself. It is crucial that you understand that balance is key in everyday life. You have to start prioritizing you. Oftentimes, people know that that's your spirit, so they use compliments to manipulate you. They tell you how great you are, tell you how they couldn't do it without them, how much you mean to them. Oh, thank you, thank you. That's nice. But you don't have to do it. If I can do it, I can do it. If I can't, I can't. Meanwhile, they're having a meal while you starve. They're well while you're ill. Their family is whole while yours is fragmented and falling apart and you're about to get a divorce. Make sure you make you a priority. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means sometimes you don't have it. You can't give someone something that you don't possess. If someone asks you to loan them $20 and you don't have $20, you shouldn't get a title loan on your car to help them pay for their vacation because all they needed is an extra $20. They'll be fine without the $20, but you're going to lose your vehicle or be in debt for an extended period of time for their desire or something they could go without. Even if it's a good friend, sometimes it can be a family member. You have to let them sometimes figure it out without you. Or take it to allow them to form a close bond with our Heavenly Father by allowing them to go to Him in prayer. Sometimes you can't let God do it. You're not everything, and you certainly aren't God. You have to normalize taking care of your needs too. Because everything can't be you. You all have a good night. Be kind to each other. Remind each other that you love each other, even if you don't have the means or the circumstance to do what it is they need. Let them go to God. He'll do it. Make sure that you understand that even if they're upset or say they're hurt, in order sometimes to manipulate you, that you don't take it personal that they're feeling that way. Let them form their bond with God. You pray about it and let them pray about it. Have a good night. I love you guys. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. Good night.